What is going on, everyone? We are back. Today we're going to be focusing on a couple different things. One, giving y'all a status update in terms of where our studio is at with our game. And two, revisiting one of the soundtracks that I previously built out, which I'll get into a little bit here. One of the things I mentioned in my previous video is Valve, the company that owns Steam, the marketplace to release your game, puts on these Steam Next Fest events. And so there's 3 of them per year, and it's a really great opportunity to get eyeballs on your game, drive wish list, and so there's a lot of preparation for that. And so we're targeting the June timeframe, and so part of that is walking back the outstanding items and tasks that we need to accomplish leading up to that. As we've been playtesting the game amongst the 3 of us, that's been an opportunity for me to see how the sound and how the soundtracks are fitting within the game. And one of the things that caught my ear was the main menu soundtrack that I previously built out. And for me, it just wasn't driving the main themes and elements of the story that we're trying to tell with our game. And that's the whole point of music, is to layer on top of what is the story that you're telling with your game? How do you enhance that musically? And so I just wanted to go back to that, just the basics. Really just understand, what is our game? What is the premise? What is the game loop? When the player first clicks play from the Steam page and they're greeted with the main menu, what tone do we want to set for that? Because you have about 10-15 seconds to capture their attention, right, before they move on to another game. So with that, let's storyboard this thing out. Let's get our notepad out and start writing some ideas down. So as we're thinking about some different themes and tones we want to set for the main menu track, I wanted to just drop us into the starting point for the game. All right, so this is where you start. You're a cowboy with a pistol and an epic orange mustache, seemingly to be the only person around in the town. You are doing everything you can to repair your town, fight off a horde of vampires, and try and progress through. The waves get more and more difficult. Boss fights have opportunities to upgrade your weapons. It really is the ultimate last stand. So here's some basic themes and tones that I jotted down, starting with just the very straightforward stuff. So we are in a Western. It's vampire infested. So I wanted to capture that really cold, like late 19th century vibe and tone. What are some different Nosferatu or Dracula elements that I can incorporate? Cold and isolated, down to your last stand, and all hope is almost lost. So the instruments that I was thinking of is just a very distant piano and maybe a cello playing a pretty somber, cold melody there. And to capture that cold Eastern European vibe, I think I'm going to have a better time trying to find that through some sort of harmonic scale. I want to do 3/4 timing. Want to establish that you're in an abandoned town. It's cold, it's windy, there's thunder, and there's this question of who's gonna defend the town, who's gonna rise to the occasion and try and fend off the incoming onslaught. Last thing I'll mention here is just how inspired I was from listening to the Twisted Tower main menu soundtrack and how well that track established the tone in the world that you're about to enter. And so I was just thinking about how can we do that for our own game. So I thought it'd be cool doing a little bit of research to write in B harmonic minor. There's 3 minor second rubs. So naturally, that's just going to create a lot of tension as we're building this out. It does give it that eerie Eastern European vampire tone to it, which is what I'm looking for. In terms of arrangement, I want to be really structured with this. So section A establishes our chord progression and our direction with our melody. Section A1 is going to have a very similar chord progression with some different melodic movement. Section B is going to be our twist or turn, where we break from that initial chord progression, and then we drive that back to a section A2, where we work towards resolution and being able to loop that back to the first section. Playing around within the key, I came up with this initial chord progression. We're starting on the 4, E minor, and we're going to the 5, F sharp major, and then back to the 1. You could probably call this chord C sharp diminished, or in another key, you'd be able to call it C sharp major. It works because you have that nice minor second rub on the bass going from D to C sharp. So it does create that tension, unresolved tone. For the second section, A1, we're repeating that for the most part. The B section, this is where we start to shake things up. Start on the 1. bit of an ascension feeling to it, whereas before we were moving more and more down. And for the turn back to the loop, or section A2, we want to work back to some sort of resolution. So this is what I came up with to get there. We're building and building, and then we hit that 5 chord and we resolve that back to the 1 of B minor. That 5 to 1 relationship is always going to give you a really nice resolution. And then we're looping that back to the 4. And here's the piano melody I created on top of that. And so that piano is from Spitfire Labs' soft piano. Really simple on top. Sure, and we're staying in the upper register and not clashing with the chords down here. I wanted to incorporate some sort of counter melody. Using some form of a cello would be really good with that. You can see, for the most part, there's not too much distance between the notes. I think that gives you a lot more control on keeping the tension very consistent until we get towards the end, and then we have that resolution and ascending. For the second part, I wanted to do the same thing, but introduce different movements and instruments. So, for example, the piano is now doing an ostinato, and we also have a dulcimer. I thought all that was doing a really good job capturing our vampiric feeling, but in terms of our Western cowboy, like that's what we're lacking. But I didn't want to introduce any more instruments, so now I wanted to take any ambient elements that we can introduce and drive some of that Western vibe. I found and created some cool ambient effects that we can use here, where we have a storm and thunder and wind coming in. Some town bells indicating that the town is in trouble, it's on fire. Some rattlesnake perk sounds here. Stray horses galloping through the streets. A wagon with a bit of a mysterious tone on it. It's flying through the air with the vampires. More town bells going off. Some different ghost sounds. Another perk rattler there. Then for the last section, I thought it'd be really cool to tell a story of you're the cowboy, you're sitting in the saloon, you're seeing your town go to you rise to the occasion, you step out of the saloon, your spurs are clanking the wood floor, you hear the bells, your town crying out for help, and it's your time to shine. All right, let's listen to the whole thing put together behind the main menu. All right, that's all we got lined up for today. If you made it this far, really appreciate it. And if you haven't already done so, feel free to hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps keep the channel humming, and our team very much appreciates any sort of support. Feel free to drop in the comment section what type of content you're interested in seeing as our team's working towards Steam Next Fest in June, and we'll catch you on the next video.